how should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information?
I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. That value has not changed. My value around what we need to do to secure our border, that value has not changed.
That was Vice President Kamala Harris defending her policy flip-flopping in her first sit-down interview since rising to the top of the Democratic ticket, with Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Walz by her side. This is the Harris campaign has confirmed to Fox News Harris has changed her positions on a number of immigration and border security-related policy issues, including decriminalizing illegal migrant crossings and closing migrant detention centers. She doesn't want to do that now. Harris campaign advisor telling Fox that, quote, the vice president's positions have been shaped by 3 years of effective governance as part of the Biden-Harris administration. I want to bring in New York Congressman Nick Langworthy. He's a member of the House Oversight, Agriculture, and Rules Committees. And Congressman, good morning to you. And this issue of immigration and her change in her policy, she also at one point did highlight that she went down, down south to try and stop the root cause of immigration. She says, well, immigration is down, border crossings are down. Not a victory lap, but she certainly was defending her record. Your reaction?
Well, there's really no defense for the record. I mean, it's amazing to watch her do an interview like that last night and completely, flip-flop on these key positions after we so passionately watched her in the 2020 race for the presidency, swear that, she was for, a ban on fracking, the Green New Deal. And now she's walking all of this back and trying to, manufacture this centrist version of Kamala Harris that doesn't exist. And this is so clearly manufactured for this election, and in a quick 68 days to the election, that she thinks that she can pull the wool over everyone's eyes here.
Yeah, let's play her in her own words. This goes back to 2019 when she was saying that she was in full support of decriminalizing illegal migrant crossings. Let's hear her then and compare that to what we heard last night.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented and cross the border as criminals.
Raise your hand if you think it should be a civil offense rather than a crime to cross the border without documentation. Can we keep the hands up so we can see them?
And by the way, they did announce yesterday that they're restarting a controversial program. It allows tens of thousands of migrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela to fly into the U.S. every month. It was paused, remember, because there was findings of massive fraud with that program among those that were sponsoring those migrants. Congressman?
It's absolutely amazing that, she said those things, she embraced those policies, and then here she is today saying, oh, no, I've changed my mind. I mean, this just simply comes from a blatant, brazen, need to go get centrist votes in states, because her job as the border czar of this country, she was an epic failure. She's done nothing. She spent zero time. I mean, Biden took 94 separate executive actions to create this crisis in the first place, and I haven't heard her say one thing about how she will roll that back, reinstituting things like Remain in Mexico. I mean, the decriminalization of the border was something that was a part and parcel to the entire 2020 election for the Democratic primary, and she was leading the charge on that. And now all of a sudden we're supposed to believe she's law and order Kamala. I mean, give me a break. I mean, she was an epic failure as the border czar. I mean, this is her single largest piece in her portfolio as Vice President of the United States, and that's a key indicator as to how she'll perform as president if given that power.
I've got Michael Balboni.
This
I'm
sudden
sorry.
shift is a joke.
My apologies. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I have Michael Balboni on set with me here in New York, and he wanted to reach out, sir.
Good morning, Congressman. So you've had a focus on the border issue for a while. You just introduced a bill, the SAFER Act, which essentially takes away the ability of the Department of Homeland Security to parole individuals if they show up on certain lists specifically tied to terrorism. Just tell us, why you introduce that now?
Yeah, I actually introduced the Safer at Our Borders Act last month, and Senator Daines has a companion bill in the U.S. Senate. I mean, this is just common sense legislation that would shut down the ability to abuse the parole system in this country so that DHS can no longer allow people on the known terrorist watch list through the loopholes in our parole system. And that's been a huge part of our failure at the southern border right now. And if we could just get common sense legislation like this, through the Senate and the House, this would be a huge step in the right direction. It doesn't take a lot to resecure that southern border. Right. I mean, they did it through executive orders by 94 separate times when Joe Biden signed it. Simple legislation like this, reinstituting Remain in Mexico, can get us back on the right track.
Do you think that you'll get pushback from those across the aisle on something like this, whether it's in the House or, as you mentioned, your colleague that's in the Senate that's doing that companion bill, because you still have, and we heard it again last night from the vice president, that they are still blaming former President Donald Trump for the fact that the border bill that bipartisan border bill was not signed and was not passed. How does that going to play out in the politics of what we're seeing right now with the border?
I think they're going to try to use that bipartisan bill, as they call it, that couldn't get out of the Senate, let alone come to the House. They're going to use that as their political football. The reality is they created this crisis. They can't walk that back. Just like you've played video of her before and after. I mean, we have the footage from throughout the administration of the people just coming across this border. We've seen the migrant crisis in terms of crime that's going on in our country, the loss of life that we've had, the extreme cost to our taxpayers. I mean, this crisis is not going to go away. It's on their watch. And that bill would have done nothing to help this in the short term. I mean, the only thing they can point to is hiring more agents. Obviously, everyone wants to hire more agents, but they also wanted to normalize illegal immigration and create quotas before any of the circuit breakers in that bill could have checked in. It's not okay to me to normalize 5,000 people coming across that border every day when we don't even know where the hell they're coming from or why they're coming here. I mean, that's the danger that we face here in this country, and that's why my legislation, the Safer at Our Border Act, would give our law enforcement another tool to shut down the loopholes in that parole system.
Congressman Nick Langworthy, keep us posted on how the legislation fares. Good to see you this morning. Appreciate you joining us.